Hello everyone, Zero635 here, and today I wanted to show you the most three recent repairs I did. These belong to Maddox. These were sent in to me, of course, to be fixed, with all three having very specific issues. We'll start off with this one. I forget what this one's called. I know it's like a bootleg type robot, but yeah, I do not remember the name. But this one did have some issues. This arm was able to rotate 360. This one no longer can't, which is good. Let's see. This had a broken piece on the inside here. Wires and the head were all twisted up, so I had to undo it. There was actually a piece around the neck here that makes the head move left and right that was snapped, which would make sense why the cables in the head were all twisted. This was pushed in. One of these was pushed in. This one was still there. It also did not work at all due to the fact that there were a bunch of wires off due to how this was twisted. What all I had to fix? Well, all I did fix, wired up both of these hands back up, wired up the face and the chest, hot glued both these pieces back into place. Same with the little window there. Gave this thing a whole cleanup, glued the little broken peg piece. Same with the eyes and everything. Now this is supposed to have a blinking type motion, but unfortunately, since this portion here is a little more damaged, the little lever that makes the arms move was broken, and there was really no way to fix that because I mean, I'm not too good with designing or anything, but um, yeah. So the lights are constantly on, but I don't think that really is much of trouble. All what really matters is that it fully works. Of course, this arm here does not work because again, that one piece that moves around the hip area is broken, and the whole part of it was gone. But this section does work. And when it walks, it kind of wants to tilt over. I'm not too sure why. I looked over it multiple times. And I couldn't really find an issue. But without further ado, here it is in action. Like, there's times it looks like it wants to tip over, but thankfully it doesn't. I just think there's something off with the legs I'm just not seeing. I mean, I've taken both legs apart, and I cannot really see what's going on. So there was that one. This one runs on 2 AA batteries, and this was actually the first one I got done with repairs. So pretty neat. All right, next one we got a very frequently one you would see on my channel. That is the Hokai acrobat robot. This is one that I was told that Max got brand new, and of course it did not work entirely, which is very common with these things. I mean, I own two of them, and near one fully worked when I got him. So I didn't think that there was gonna be any surprises with these, but I had that terrible feeling one of them would have of these three, and unfortunately it was him. I got him, and of course arms were loose. Body did work, but you could hear a ticking noise, meaning that the motor shaft gear was getting ready to split, and the legs did not move, so which was really weird. So I was like, okay, maybe just the wire off where the motor stuck. So went into it, replaced both uh, I think 10 tooth gear on the outside, 10 tooth gear in the motor shaft. Did the same thing with the waist. I only replaced the 10 tooth gear for the motor because that one was what you call it. That one was split, but the other 10 tooth gear on the outside was fine, so didn't have to mess with that. So everything was going smoothly until I got to the legs. I pulled this midsection off and found out that there's a wire off. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I looked at more closely at the wire, and I'm like, this pulled off really weirdly. And if you remember in the unboxing video, the legs were really loose. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if like the Z bar gear broke, and of course that was not broken. As I removed the cover for the motor, where like the main gearbox was at, motor was there, yes. So was its motor shaft gear, but three gears were missing. And I was like, okay. So I contacted his mom, and I was like, hey, did Max by chance go inside of this? And she says she doesn't think so. So she asked him, and long and behold, he did go into it, and they sent me a bag of gears, miscellaneous gears, and so far within those whole gears, there's only like I think two that did go to this robot. The rest did not. So yeah, I actually had to go on a wild goose chase to find the gears I was missing. So gear that was missing was a crown gear, a mid gear, and then main gear that has two gears, the pretty much it would control the walking in a way. So actually no, there was like four gears missing, and thankfully three of them were actually in the bag. Which I'm called. So crown gear, I managed to find one. It was too small, but it actually did the job, which I'll explain in a bit. Secondary gear, I actually got from a V2 gearbox, and it managed to work fine because the gear, because it's a two gear. The gear in the bottom was pretty much the right one it needed. I actually had to grab one of my own acrobat robots to take apart and see what gears this thing was missing. And thankfully, the big gear on top of it was big enough to make contact with the crown gear, because previously I had found another gear that I don't know where it came from, and it was, I think, 2 or 3 teeth short. So it would not make contact with the crown gear. So I was like, dang. Motor shaft gear in this case did have to be. Actually, no, I didn't have to change the motor shaft gear, I don't think. No. Motor shaft gear was still a 10-tooth gear, so that worked fine. Then when you get to, let's see, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, the fifth gear, which is another two-piece gear that controls walking, was missing. But thankfully, I found it in the bag. It just needed a gear, so I put a gear on it, and that worked. And the sixth gear that was missing was the one that pretty much goes in the middle. It goes on the inside of the leg gearbox itself. And the other part that was missing was this other two-piece gear where you have a shaft, a big gear, and another crown gear. So thankfully, part of that was in there. I just had to find a appropriate crown gear, and I found one. I just had to sand it down, and it worked. Now with the V2 gear, it was too tall, so I had to put side by side with the original gear, sanded the new gear to the same height as it, and with the crown gear, so I did not have to add a bigger gear to it. I actually found little spacers that my girlfriend's grandfather had given me. Like they're these like little thin piece of plastic, like really thin. And stacking a few of those up actually did the trick, and the whole thing worked. I was extremely happy. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I managed to actually get this working." Because the other thing would have be done was get the gears remade, and that would not have been good. But after that, he's done. He works. So let me turn him on. Got his remote. Use one of my remotes. Sometimes glitches where it just wants to keep on going at times. And the only reason it's loud is because some of those gears are not the right ones, but it worked, and I'm just really happy about that. So there's him. He took a good bit because like I said, I had to figure out what gears was this man missing, and I'm glad I found it. And this is another miracle repair. So now let me show you the last one. Alright, so something I do want to say is no hate on Maddox at all for tampering with this one, because I'm going to be honest, when I was a kid, I used to tamper with my own toys, like take them apart, and they usually would never go back together, and in this case, um, they got thrown away. That's what kind of enhanced me to start, getting back into collecting robots and all that fun stuff, because I lost so many when I was a kid, and I wanted to regain them, but in the long run, I ended up getting some extra ones to go with the ones I'm trying to regain, and that became a problem. Anyways, but yeah, no hate to him for this one being a bit more painful for me to deal with. Again, I completely understand that he was very curious and whatnot, so it's all good. All right, so the last one that I fixed for him was Legion of Doom. This is actually one I had sold to them sometime last year before Christmas. He got this as a Christmas present from his mom, and once he finally got to unbox it, because when they received it, they never opened it until, Christmas. So they tested it, it worked and everything, and then eventually it broke. And I was like, okay. So I received it, and I was thinking his hand was broken, but no. His mom managed to pose it downwards. Somehow managed to pose without breaking, which I'm really surprised. Because I did have to fix both of the supports that the metal rods of pretty much the wire goes into for the arms. But yeah, that actually worked out pretty nicely. Actually, looks cool. But whatchamacallit. And what ended up being the issue? Well, it's this issue that anyone who's worked on 360 robots had to at least deal with this at least once or 5 times in their life. The selector gear, or I like to call it the magic gear, where it's a two-piece. It's a two-piece. Well, it's a three-piece. No, four-piece. Four pieces. You got a shaft, a gear at the bottom, and two gears. One with less teeth and one with one more tooth than the gear in the bottom. And pretty much it rotates. One rotates faster and it lifts up this gear and it enables the robot to spin. That's pretty much what was already broken on this when I first bought it and fixed it, and I guess it broke again. This time, hopefully, it should hold up now. But yeah, it's a very common issue. All right, let's see. So he's good. He's a self-explanatory one. He's actually a really cool one. So here he is. All right, and there you have it. And I will say this was actually an honor to work on these robots for Maddox because I've been following their Facebook page for years now, and I'm still astonished with how many robots he has. I mean, when he's 18 now, and him being 18 and collecting these, he has so many, and I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, I have a lot too, but I mean, I've been collecting for a good while now, but and actually getting to fix some of these for him was nice because I know a lot of these he tends to get these broken too, and I'm pretty sure he wants to enjoy them. So finally getting to work on some of these for him so he can enjoy them honestly makes me happy because I mean I wouldn't mind owning broken robots I can't use. Actually, who what am I saying? I own robots. We own robots that are broken. We cannot use because either still be fixed or there's some reason they cannot be fixed. For example, I have to get parts for him remade, and thankfully my friend I think is working on it. So hopefully maybe he should be working. Maybe. Anyways, but yes, so I cannot wait for him to get these back and actually get to enjoy them. So if you guys enjoyed this video, and Max, you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed these fellas, and I cannot wait to see your reaction when you receive them and fully working order. And for everyone else, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.